Because like, there's no way that like at one point we were just like, and then all of a sudden it's just like, but what's the meaning of life?
But what's the meaning of and oh?
yeah. But when you're saying like, do you really mean you know?
Leftovers, 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 leftovers.
Welcome to my Leftovers podcast, and welcome to today's episode of Leftover Files. Bing, 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 bong, 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 bing, bong.
Was that racist? I should probably not. I should take that out.
You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said the part. Is that racist?
Yeah.
You should have just. I was doing an X-Files thing, and you were. I thought you were.
I was making sounds, but I feel like that might have come off like a bad. I didn't mean it in a bad way.
No, you didn't. Clearly, this.
Bing, buck, boom, buck, wham. What type of shit I'm on you wouldn't understand.
See, now it sounds fine. See, you should just finish the thought.
Yeah, but I got it wrong.
Welcome back to Wednesday's episode, and it is Wednesday's episode, right, Alex?
Yes. Sorry, the last time we said that it was gonna be a Wednesday episode, it came out on a Monday.
Dude, it's the funniest thing ever when we started explaining the thing and like, yeah, it's a Wednesday kind of thing, and it's on a Monday.
It's so funny because I was so in, like, I'm like, yeah, this is ready to go out. I got this, all good, you know. And then at the last second, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't finish the rest of the episode, so we don't have one for Monday. I guess we have to put the Wednesday and Monday, you know.
Well, if you guys don't know, the Leftover Files is where we talk about some leftover conspiracies, weird stuff. It's a place for us to talk about these things without having to make every single episode go to our weird conspiracy world.
Yes.
So let's get started today because we're going to talk about a real leftover book.
Ah.
Yeah.
Does it have to do with Senor? I blanked on his name.
Who's
Stephen
name
King. Stephen King.
No. This one's interesting. We are going full Christian core on this one.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna get sent to hell after this episode.
We actually won't.
Why is that?
You'll see why.
I will see or I will hear why.
Can you just get the... let me go...
I love messing you up.
And that means two things. Innuendos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before the Bible was finalized, before Christianity fully formed, there were other stories. Stories about angels who came to earth, about forbidden knowledge, about giants, about a man who was taken and shown everything. And one of those stories is the Book of Enoch, a book that was rejected by Christian. Dang it, I messed up that last word.
By Christian.
By Christian. This guy named Christian rejected it.
And he spoke for everybody when he said that. I don't want this in my Bible.
So, so if you guys are angry about why this book isn't in it, talk to Christian.
Yeah. He's got a lot to say.
He's got a lot to say about this book. So this isn't a conspiracy. This isn't like a weird it's a book that the church hid or something. This is a legitimate...
Wait. Then it doesn't belong on this episode because we talk about conspiracies on our Wednesday episode.
There is a conspiracy at the end of it, though.
Okay.
You'll see why.
All right.
And feel free to jump in when you can, right? So this is an actual book that does exist, and it does predate Christianity.
Oh, they went on a couple dates?
Well, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, predate.
Predate. Well, we need to start with simple. The book is called the Book of Enoch. It's not an actual book. It's a collection of stories, just like anything else in the Bible. Right?
Enock. No, CH.
Yes.
I saw H in my head, but I said K. Go on.
We're going to start simple. We need to start with some of the backstory first, and then we'll get into the contents of the actual book.
Okay.
So we need to understand who Enoch actually was. Enoch is actually in the Bible, but very briefly, like a second.
Oh, wow.
He's in Genesis. He's described like this. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him.
Where did he take him? Is that just like it?
That's it.
And
He's referenced throughout the Bible and here in passages here and there, but that's basically like we're getting an actual story of Enoch. That's it.
But where did they take him?
That's where it gets scary.
Okay.
So in the Bible, when someone is taken by God, it doesn't mean that they died because he wasn't killed. He didn't die. His body physically was taken to heaven, which basically in those kinds of writings, it basically means this is a divine person. Enoch was a divine person because he wasn't killed. His soul didn't leave him. He, as a person, as a human, was taken to heaven.
Okay, but like he didn't die.
He didn't die.
So this is kind of like in Thor when like occasionally they'll visit Valhalla, you know?
Yeah.
Where all the people like all the, like the soldiers like when they die in war they go there, but you can still kind of visit every so often. Mm-hmm. It's a similar interesting.
When you say Valhalla, there's only one person I think about.
And that's Mr.
CIA
FBI
director.
man.
Oh, FBI director.
Yeah.
Oh, FBI. Why am I messing up 3 letters, dude?
Yeah, I know.
They did it on purpose to mess me up only.
They knew that James guy. He can't say 3 letters.
But it's insane, right? Because
Yeah.
Enoch is supposed to be, I believe, the grandfather of Noah, the guy who made Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
The really cool water slide at Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah, the best one actually.
The best one,
Yeah,
actually. But the Book of Enoch is ancient, and it was written roughly 300 to 100 years BC.
Ooh.
And it's not one book. It's a collection of writings, like I mentioned. But there's one problem. It wasn't written by Enoch himself. It was written by multiple other authors through Enoch, if that makes sense. And it doesn't make sense. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a little hard. The Christians and other parties, they don't accept this book for one main reason. Essentially, one, it wasn't accepted, obviously. It's not like Christians only. Jewish didn't accept it. Other parties did not accept these writings as biblical writings.
Okay.
They were biblical, but they weren't like from God. They were inspired by God, is
They
what they're
were
saying.
around the same time.
Right. There's also a timeline issue.
Oh.
Technically, these were written after, like significantly after what they claim to have been written. They were written 100, 300 BC, but they claim to have been written way before that too.
So it's like some Back to the Future shit.
Kind of Back to the Future shit there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, when they start talking about some DeLorean, I'm gonna chime in.
You know what? Was it a DeLorean? Just kidding. And obviously, the last reason why it was rejected is because the content is insane. Because it talks about rebellious angels, hybrid human beings, and forbidden knowledge.
What do you mean hybrid? Like you got to plug them in?
Like a Prius?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're talking Prius, right?
Yeah. They had to get some shit installed to their house so that they could function with their EVs.
The book was also written by multiple authors. So it wasn't written by one guy. It was written by multiple authors. Now, plenty of reason here to be like, okay, I understand. Because it's essentially like religious fanfic. If you really think about it, because it wasn't written by godly people in a way. It was written by godly inspiration. However, early Christians knew about the book. Early Christians read about the book. And even in Ethiopian Christianity, they actually included in the Bible to this day. That's over 3,000 years that church has been running. They include this and a bunch of other books that didn't make the final cut.
But a bunch of other ones don't.
Right. And it's because it doesn't fit with the story or it wasn't canonized because it doesn't fit with what they wanted in the Bible and the final cut.
Is this kind of like in Marvel when like they do like a what if and it's kind of like, oh, like what if this happened instead, you know?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not a what if. It's
Oh.
more like connecting things that are missing in the Bible. Like Enoch disappears in the fucking first line. And then it's like, where'd he go? I don't know.
Oh, this is like in Star Wars when there's a prequel.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It could be considered that, huh?
This is so weird because I don't like making like a reference to Star Wars because I don't actually like Star Wars.
Here's the thing. I feel like I'd like Star Wars. Still won't watch it.
Yeah.
Won't do it.
I feel like I did watch like a few of them because I was just like, you know, like everybody like talks about how great they are, but I was worried because I was like, what if like the second that I watch one, I go bald like all the other guys that watch Star Wars?
What if I become a lightsaber kind of guy and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
join a Jedi League?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I can't risk that.
I can't risk that,
Yeah.
dude. But I really want to watch it. Really want to watch it. I want to be
it
part of
on.
the. I want to be part of the group that hates on it. You know, those people's like, oh, episode 4 sucks.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, according to this, they wouldn't actually act like this because you know, like,
According to this, they were actually siblings and they fucked.
oh, that's actually true though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's kind of a messed up thing, and that they want. They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
they're not ready for that conversation.
Star Wars is weird.
Starbucks. Now, why does this book actually matter, though, at the end of the day? If it's a rejected book, and even though it's ancient and all that stuff, why does it actually matter? Because it predates Jesus. And it introduces ideas like judgment, heaven's structure, and fallen angels, and a chosen figure, the chosen one.
And this is not Jesus?
That's the thing. The problem is that essentially, if you kind of list all those things down, that's kind of the blueprint for what the Bible is, right? So it's weird because even though this book is rejected and it still predates what we know as Christianity today, but it set the blueprint for the whole thing.
Whoa.
It's kind of weird, right? But it's pretty cool. So let's talk about like what actually happened. So in the Bible in Genesis, Enoch is literally that line. It's just, he was here and he's gone.
Yeah.
Done. He wasn't just taken. He was actually lifted into the heavens. He was guided by angels and he was shown how everything in heaven works. The problem with this book is that it paints heaven to be a physical place with multiple structures, multiple rooms, places where here's the wretched souls, here's the bad angels, here's this. This is where people are in the waiting room waiting to learn their judgment.
What the heck? Okay.
I know, that was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that's whack. There's a waiting room even in heaven.
That kind of makes sense. That makes sense.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
There's a place where people are being like, kind of like a hell in a sense where people are being punished for their crimes on earth or whatever.
Yeah.
Is the way he interprets it.
This is the good place.
This is the good place.
The
Because,
show.
Oh.
The good place.
Oh.
That's actually like what it is.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
wonder
didn't-
if they got the idea based off of this.
That would actually make a lot of sense because he paints out that heaven is like all these different rooms and all this stuff. And he gets to see how the sun, how the moon works, how everything is not just randomized. Everything goes through gates. Like the sun goes through a gate, it comes out to the world and it comes back and it hides. And then the moon does similar things. How the winds are created artificially. Well, artificially as in like in heaven and then thrown out. Like.
Yeah.
And he gets to see the end of the world, not like legitimate like apocalypse, as in like both ends of the world. He sees the entire planet.
Is it flat?
Enoch, you need to tell us, man. Is it flat?
You saw both sides, right?
He did see both sides.
He didn't
you're
say
right.
he saw the whole sphere.
Then also, there is one more also weird thing.
Uh-huh.
This book of Enoch also does one thing that wouldn't be considered okay in Christianity. Noah. He's the one who builds the ark and saves all the animals, and he's the only chosen one to survive. They paint his birth as, and we'll get into why this is important. They paint his birth as being born as like this very pale person, and like he's almost shines in a divine way. Mm-hmm. And the mom became pregnant without her husband, which isn't okay.
Because Jesus is kind of like
he
known
should have
for
been the
that.
only one.
Yeah.
Technically. That's why this book of Enoch doesn't fit into the canonized version of the Bible.
Yeah.
However, again, early Christians knew about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's one scary thing, and this is where this is the content that everyone knows about, and this is the bread and butter of all this. He saw in heaven the prison of the watchers. He's shown a place where the fallen angels are bound, and it's described as dark, chaotic, and a place where they're just hanging, like they're bound and waiting. They will be bound until their judgment day, which we don't actually know what that actually means, obviously, so we can only guess. This was a creepy one. He was shown the tree of life. It's
snap.
and I'm sure you've heard references to this before in
Yeah.
your life, but it's like a sacred place of knowledge and life, but it's connected to the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
So he's shown that, which also creepy. We already talked about the place of the dead. Oh, this one. He sees the future judgment. He gets like, this is the hard thing that's really hard to understand is I'm not sure what he saw and how he saw it there in heaven, but he gets to see the future judgment of the world where corruption is punished and order is restored, because at the end, truth is what wins.
God, I'm waiting for this part. I'm waiting for this part of the book to like show up.
this is very close to the final chapter of the Bible, Apocalypse, or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Apocalypses? No, I forgot what it is.
Okay.
Maybe that's the Spanish version, actually.
Yeah. I've always heard apocalypse, but that's also like a DC thing.
Yeah, where the 4 horsemen come down. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Now, this is the part that he talks about that everyone is like, holy cow, this is creepy. There was a group of angels called the Watchers. The Watchers come down to earth and they're led by
Zendaya.
No, they're not Zendaya. They're led by Samyaza and Azazel.
Okay.
These are 2 angels, and they're sent down to basically observe humanity and kind of guide them. They help them farm. They help them develop further, right? Mm-hmm. But then they make a pact. Mm-hmm. Azazel and Samyaza make a pact, and they basically go and do whatever they want. They rebel against their orders.
Oh, wow.
One of the first things they do is they start to lust over human women, and they start to take them and breed with them.
Oh, no.
They start making human hybrids, human angel hybrids. And those are the Nephilim. The Nephilim were
Giants.
Yes, sir.
I know this stuff,
And
dude.
these giants are terrifying because not only were they violent, they were massive, they were scary looking, they were also cannibals. They ate humans once they couldn't find more resources to eat. Like people were giving them food all the time, but then eventually they just started attacking humans.
Because they're also just like massive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they were just wild. They were uncontrollable beings. Not only that, the fallen angels also started teaching humans things about like metalworking, how to make weapons, how to do war, and corruption.
Aries.
Wrong story. wrong area of the
Lore?
world, I guess.
whatever.
Lore, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe they taught the women alchemy and enchantments.
What does alchemy mean in this context?
I think alchemy would mean rituals that are dark, like would be considered evil.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then obviously, this is not okay.
Yeah.
None of this is okay in God's
No.
eyes. So what ends up happening? God hits a reset button and he resets the entire world. And this is connected directly to Noah's Ark, because the reset that he talks about is the flooding of the entire planet, where his whole thing is like, it's not my goal to kill all humans, but there's corruption now. There's teachings of things that shouldn't have been taught.
Yeah.
There's human hybrids. And the biggest goal was to get rid of the Nephilim,
Yeah.
to get rid of them. So he does the waters.
Yeah.
And that's where it connects to the Noah's Ark.
That's his whole plan. Is like he's like, I want to erase everything, so I'm just gonna flood it all and like, kind of
Exactly.
start over. So
Yes.
like, essentially, he's kind of killing off everything that was living there right now.
Exactly. He's just hitting a big reset button.
Wow.
Right. So, and it connects directly to why the story of Noah's Ark, there is a big flood. That's the reason why. It wasn't just to cleanse the world. It was to get rid of the Nephilim and the corruption that the fallen angels have created.
Do you know like what in the Bible they like give as a reason as to why the whole flood happened?
I believe it was simplified into like, we need to reset the world.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
It was essentially that. There was
Was it like a thing
corruption.
of just like, oh, like there's too much sin happening, so then like it
Yeah.
like caused the storm almost?
I believe something like that, but it was a
Okay.
punishment of God for rebelling and corruption, essentially. But this story paints it out to say, like, no, this is where the corruption came from, and we ended up having these bad things. And then the fallen angels were taken back to heaven, and that's where he found them bound in heaven.
Yeah.
The other issue is the Book of Enoch also has, like, there's an astronomical book that talks about the sun and moon paths, the cosmic order, structured time. Essentially, there's no what if. Everything is structured. And in the parables, a figure will appear who will judge humanity and restore order. The chosen one.
Yeah.
This predates the idea of a Messiah, which is interesting because
Yeah.
eventually, what we know now as Christianity, there is the idea of the Messiah, or who will judge us at the end or something.
In end times.
And end times.
Yeah.
Then there's the dream visions part where he speaks in riddle a little bit, where he uses symbols instead of direct talking, where he says that humans are the sheep and the angels are the shepherds. It's interesting there.
Okay.
Then the final warning chapter, where it basically tells you what happens at the end. Corruption will be punished and truth will be restored.
Yeah. Which is the flood.
Yes.
Yeah.
A future apocalypse.
Oh.
Not the flood, a future.
So-
Basically saying, like, at the end of the day, all the corruption on earth will be reset and truth will prevail.
And so this is like something that's coming.
Exactly.
Any day now, dude.
Any day. We're ready. We're ready for this.
Yeah.
So what does this all actually mean? It basically tells us where knowledge came from. Fallen angels, why humans are flawed. Fallen angels.
Yeah.
The fallen angels really messed up at this
Yeah.
story. How the universe works, gates and structure that's already been pre-chosen, and what happens at the end. It's an interesting book, and you can understand why it was rejected by Christians,
Yeah.
right?
I think I've heard this as a movie, no?
I feel like I've heard it as a
The
movie
Book
too.
of Enoch?
Oh, I haven't.
I think I've heard of it. Like I think it came out like in like the early 2000s.
That could be it.
And I'm kind of interested as to like what they did with it. Like was it like them finding out about this book, or was it like a retelling of the story?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, here's the thing. The problem with the Book of Enoch, if we get to a real note and we want to talk about exactly why it's rejected, is essentially one, the issue with that it's through multiple authors, and they're basically saying we are speaking through Enoch. Okay, that's an issue, and it's not in the right timeline of when they picked out the stories that would end up in the Bible. That's another issue. And then more importantly, again, these are not biblical works. They're inspired by God.
Yeah.
Which is a big difference, right? Like we said, it's kind of like fanfic for religion instead of yeah. So,
Imagine it's just like some guy who was like reading like the Bible and stuff, and he was just like he caught whiff of they're putting together like this Bible.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just like, man, I want to put together a story.
yeah. So the issues are though that the fact that the Bible does reference Enoch and the fact that there's holes in the Bible of everything. Like, for example, what happened to Enoch? He wasn't killed. He didn't die. He was taken by God.
Yeah.
He is Noah's grandfather.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
So you know how like they came out with a movie and it was called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
You mean the best movie of our generation? Yeah, go ahead.
And they basically were like, okay, we are going to take real moments that happen in history, but we're going to be all like, this was explained because of vampires. Similar.
That one was cool, though. That one was really cool. Yeah. I know what you're getting at, but that was a really cool idea. Here's the thing now. This is where it gets into conspiracy world.
Oh, snap. Okay.
This has been used as evidence of the first documented UFO abduction because the way that Enoch is describing his taken from Earth to heaven to a physical place, it describes a weird thing where it's like, he's describing rooms. He's not describing these holy places that are like you can see through people. He's describing actual beings. The way he describes it is like people are being tortured, people are being like dissected or something.
Yeah.
Kind of what we think of alien abductions.
Ooh,
he's describing that there's godly figures all around him that are like 10 feet tall. And that they're bright.
To somebody back then, they would see that and think godly figures.
Exactly.
But in reality,
on top of that, before Enoch was taken, in the Book of Enoch, I believe it's in the Book of Enoch too, above his village, there was lights that appeared before he was taken. And they appeared above the village and they were roaming or something. And then he was taken.
They were chapel roning. Damn.
Yeah. So then obviously the fallen angels that came down and they believe that's like first proof of documentation of alien human hybrid.
That they like, they went and they saw like our women and they're like, we are going to like repopulate with our own
Exactly. Because there's already been theories that they do human hybrid stuff with us already. Right. And then on top of all that, up there, seeing that there's vegetation, there's room of like food and stuff like that. Oh, he got to see the ends of the earth. It sounds like he was on a spaceship looking out the window.
Wow.
Right?
That's also like one of the, the arguments about like the fact that back in the day, there was like a Neanderthal, right?
Yes.
And then like the aliens came and they, bang, bang. And then all of a sudden, that's how humans were made.
There's a big yeah. And one of the reasons people believe that is because there's a weird jump in human intelligence from 1 minute. Like there's no reason we should have survived for so long.
Yeah.
Considering how needy we are.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
I'm needy.
But how did we go from being cavemen to these creatures that have a conscience?
Yeah.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I get it. There's a lot of proof and science and all that, but that's boring.
Yeah. Because like there's no way that like at one point we were just like, and then all of a sudden it's just like, but what's the meaning of life?
But what's the meaning of and oh?
yeah. But when you're saying like, do you really mean
That's the thing though. With Noah's Ark also, there's a big problem. People that actually take it for face value, because there's different interpretations of Noah's Ark. Whether he legitimately built a boat, an ark, obviously, that was enormous, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, by himself, dang, only in a year, dang, dude, I want to hire that guy.
But I mean, like maybe it was like a thing of like, like God was just like, I'm going to clear out everything. So I'm going to give you guys a boat too.
He gave him the exact instructions of what to do. In the Bible, he does give him the exact measurements, exactly how to set it up, exactly what wood to use. But it does kind of raise the questions of how was one man supposed to build a boat by himself like that?
True.
And then on top of that, how was he supposed to get all these animals? I mean, obviously, if you believe the Bible is just face value, which 100%, right? It makes sense too that basically he took 2 of every animal, done, right?
But it's because they didn't have like 9 to 5 jobs back then.
Well,
you could do a whole lot in this time period if you don't have a 9 to 5.
And that's true. If you don't have to worry about taxes, you got all your life.
Dude, I'd build a freaking ark right now.
The thing is, some people are taking Noah's Ark as a secondary spaceship. That it wasn't a spaceship that actually held animals or two of every animal. It held copies of DNA.
That's different. And they incubated it in like freaking.
There you go.
Wow.
Exactly. That they incubated it. That it was DNA that they took and all that stuff. Creepy, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Again, it makes sense because there's also another part in the Bible where someone was taken to heaven through a chariot of fire, and there was an angel in there that was explained similarly.
Is that Apollo?
And that's a different.
I know it's
that's
like a whole
different. That's
thing.
different lore, dude.
I know, but like, isn't that his thing? Apollo's
I think
thing?
it was Apollo's thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So in a weird way, the Book of Enoch, as rejected as it is still a legitimate book, legitimate writings of those times, and more importantly, it has so much weirdness in it that it does feed into both worlds. One, it would be the Christians of like, what are they hiding from us, right? They're not hiding anything from you. They're just rejecting it because it doesn't fit scholarly.
Yeah.
The other side feeds to the conspiracy world of like, we have ancient aliens, and it's like, oh, now this fits in closer to stuff like the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, and all that kind of weird stuff.
Which everybody always thought that they were not connected, you know?
Exactly. But if you look apparently at every single early civilization within those, they all reported the Great Flood and the one man who took a boat and survived it. Interesting, right?
This dude cooked on this episode.
And it's so funny because this book was left over. The Book of Enoch is actually really cool, though. If you want to read it, I recommend it. But to end it off, check it out. I mean, there's plenty of books that were rejected from the Bible, of course, because not necessarily like, oh, they speak ill of God or they're blasphemous. Well, some of them could be considered. I think Book of Enoch could actually be considered not blasphemous, but it'd be considered like, I forgot what it is when it's against God, because it is technically against some of the teachings we learn. But some of the books are realistically, like we said, it is just inspired by God. It wasn't actually written God. I don't know how to explain it, but people who are in religion, they get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They know what I'm cooking up here.
Put in the comments if you know what we're cooking it, you know? Like, tell us like what he actually meant.
You know what's so funny? Religion core and lore, freaking cool as heck, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's so cool. Like when I was reading all about this, I got more into the actual Bible and understanding like how all this stuff is. It is so cool.
Yeah, I listen to George Janko's podcast every so often, and like sometimes he'll talk about like certain stories, and he's just like, honestly, like even if you don't like religion, just read some of these stories, and you will be like you'll be like, this is like the most badass thing I've ever read in my entire life.
It is. It's one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's not like what people think where it's always just positive endings at everything. Like there was a point where one guy was about to kill his own son to prove his loyalty to God. Yeah. And then God was like, nah, dude, it was a prank.
There's some intense things in the Bible.
Very intense things.
Like even if like you just want to like read it just for entertainment, like you'll get entertained. Like it'll actually like, you know.
The funny thing is too, and I believe, and that this is my ending point with the Book of Enoch, is that I believe I had heard that in Genesis, the first chapter, there was a mention of giants.
Okay.
There was a mention. That's why I'm so entertained by this Book of Enoch thing, because it fills up all the gaps of things that were missing from that first chapter, like who Enoch was. Because like, dude, again, how that line goes hard. He's like, there was a guy named Enoch, and then he was no more. Yeah. He was taken by God. Yeah. That is so cool. Because again, if you know the context, taken by God means that this is a divine person now. Yeah. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Maybe like the reason why they took it out, because then it's like, if you find out like he got taken by like this other being in the actual book, he said he was taken by God. Wouldn't that then make people believe that, oh, this is them claiming that aliens are God?
That's exactly the issue.
Yeah.
That's one of the major issues. But again, if we're not looking at it from that alien conspiracy world, and we're looking at it for face value, scholarly, it makes sense why they rejected it. It makes 100% sense. But it's still pretty cool. Yeah, and the fact that in Ethiopian Christianity, they believe in it and they use it as part of their Bible. And I think they have 81 books total, where I think regular Christianity only has 73.
Oh, wow.
I believe that was there's 8 books missing. Not missing,
but like
they're not
Extended.
included.
It's the extended cut.
It's the extended cut.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying, dude, is I want to keep looking for those kinds of stories and
Yeah.
books that are missing, and I want to see why they're missing, because it makes me actually dive into the real Bible and be like, wait, that's how Noah's Ark is connected. Wait, this is connected to that. And
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Like filling the blanks in on your own.
Yeah. Well, let us know down below. Have you heard of the Book of Enoch? And do you believe that that should be canonized?
Yeah.
Because it is not considered canon.
Did
but
you watch the movie?
was there a movie?
Was there a movie?
Are you thinking of the Book of Life?
No, guys. Like, I feel like somebody out there will be like, he's thinking of the Book of Mormon, but I'm not. I'm not. I've heard the Book of Enoch. Okay.
Okay, well, let us know down below what you guys think. And this is I forgot everything else. The LFTVRS,
Yes.
POD on TikTok.
Yes.
Follow, love, like, subscribe.
This dude's in love.
Oh God, I'm so stupid. And let us know down below. Have you read the Book of Enoch? And will you read the Book of Enoch? And who do you know who Enoch is? And
Yeah.
was this a good episode? Do I get your approval?
I'm really shy.
I'm really shy. I'm really putting myself out there.
And this has been Alex.
And this has been putting himself out there, James. And you listen to the Leftovers Files.
Leftovers, 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 leftovers.
Welcome back to